Hey, vinyl community. It's Mazzy here for my boy Dylan. Dylan from Noble Records on his 7 millionth subscriber contest. Opening a new store in the first year. And now, I'm not going to go into the cliche of one of these left wing, left coast city boys, kind of like emulating the Southern boys down there. But some of my favorite boys are in the South, particularly North and South Carolina. I don't know why, but we kind of like jive. Down there we got my boy Dylan. We got my boy Dave, local bandography. We got my biggest man crush on Mazzy, John with one H, the one, the only, Mr. Subtitle himself, Digital Gramophone. If you listen to his introduction, I'm the one who voices that thing. Digital Gramophone makes no sense. That's me. He stole one of my clips to put on his subtitles. So he wanted one of those generic West Coast accents from the Bay Area where those liberal hippie people used to live to voice the title of his channel. Then, of course, Vinylverse, who comes down for a visit, Vinylverse, that Phil Collins loving, Genesis loving boy who doesn't seem to be part of that crowd but swings through and swings back out, right? But then there's my new boy, the former history teacher, Elliot Cruz, who's not really one of them from that thing, but seems to be living down in that general area as well. So, of course, I'm not mocking these people. I love them. I love them to like their family. And I'm loving them even more because in the last 2 years when I found out who my real mama was, it turns out my mama wasn't who I thought it was. The mama who adopted me, who was born and raised in San Francisco, California, and my grandma, who was born in San Francisco, California. But apparently, my real mama, my birth mama, who I never knew, was born in West Virginia. West Virginia, that makes me part cracker like everyone else there. So, not only was I not born from a Jewish mama, why are you yelling when you're doing this, Mazzy? I'm from the South. I'm a Southern boy. And of course, I'm drinking a beer because of this. And not that I don't love beer. I love the shit out of beer. But I'm not supposed to drink beer for a particular health reason thingy, which I won't go into here. And I love beer. I miss beer. My favorite beer, though, are Belgian wheat beers, as well as dark English ales and Irish beers like Guinness and brown nut ale and that kind of stuff. So is that kind of like city beers? You know, I'm not a Budweiser boy or a, I used to like the Dr. Pepper and that lighter thing. What do you call that? You get a shot and a Dr. Pepper and you got a beer back and all that stuff. So if I don't make any videos after this, that's because of this beer just did me. Oh. Wow, that's never happened to me before. I thought I could last a little longer there. Anyway, Dylan, Noble Records opened a record shop this year. Those of you must know that. So Dylan opened a record shop, and it's a fabulous record shop. I'd fly right down there to go see my Southern brothers. Oh, I forgot Chris of the Man Cave. I'm sorry. Chris. Jazz Boy Chris. If it ain't original, I don't want it. You're getting it next time. Anyway, and I couldn't find a big old beard because if I go down there, I got to let my beard grow because that's a part of the mise en scène, as the French say, of the scenery, of the art direction of that. You have to have a big old beard. Of course, up here in the Pacific Northwest, where I am in Seattle, Washington, home of grunge, home of Pearl Jam, who's going to put a new album out after 7 or 8 years coming up, everyone here's got a big old beard. Actually, all the people at work as well, never mind, we won't go there, but a lot of beards up here, yeah, because it's cold and the whole flannel thing and everything, and I'm just out of my element being from San Francisco, California, home of the hippies. Anyway, I went on way too long for this intro, but congratulations, Dylan, on your record store and 7 million subscribers. There's 7 questions here. And, you know, I'm going to kind of, I ended up overlapping them to basically only have 2 albums covering almost all the questions, except for a couple. And you'll see why when we get in there. God, I love this beer. I miss beer. I don't drink martinis to be cool, to be like a San Francisco, California, or New York City boy. I love gin. I love gin. I think it looks cool, kind of aesthetic there, but I love beers too, and I forgot how good a beer can taste. You like my San Francisco Giants hat? If there's one baseball team that I grew up with, it was Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Orlando Cepeda, Jim Davenport, Matty Alou, Felipe Alou, Jesus Alou, Jim Davenport, all those San Francisco Giants from the 1960s. Number 44, Willie McCovey. Number 24, Willie Mays. See, I know more my sports shit if it goes back far enough. Oh, that's a Blue Moon. I think this is from Colorado. Colorado, Washington, California. We're legal pot states, so come on down and smoke a J and whack-a-mole with me next time. Anyway, I'll go down to visit you boys once they make a direct flight. Unless you guys want to pitch in and get me one of those, anyway, okay. This is going to be too long of an intro for this, man. People are switching the channel off right now around this time. Okay, you've had enough. So, if I could maintain this accent for the rest of these 7 questions, I should definitely win one of these prizes. Okay, best finds. Best finds ever, you know, before the internet, now you can get everything on the internet if you're willing to pay for it, but the best finds at the time was a Butcher cover. Now, ain't a first state. There's first state, second state, third state. I'm not getting into the states, not like states, but 1966, American only, Yesterday and Today, photographed by the great photographer Robert Whitaker, who did kind of conceptual. He was really into sort of the mise en scène of psychedelic and conceptual artwork like Salvador Dali, another boy from West Virginia, I think, or from North Carolina. Actually, that's not true, so I lied. But a comp Capitol Records put out that didn't come out in England, in the UK. They put this cover on from Roger Whittaker. In a way, it was sort of a protest to the Vietnam War, but not really. And before it hit the shelves, disc jockeys and distributors were up in arms, and they put it back and they slapped another cover over it. That stupid cover, that ugly cover, looks like they all just woke out of bed, dragged up into a photo shoot, and they're in a big trunk, a suitcase. But at the time, I got this. I found it, but this is the second one I found, or second one I acquired. The first one's going to be part of another question. So Yesterday and Today was a huge find. Back in the early 70s, I found this way before the internet, and these weren't too expensive back then, and now they're high in demand. Anyway, someone drew a little flower on it too. I don't know, someone who had it before me. Best song ever written. There's 2. Now, there is a difference, and this is a question that you did not specify, Dylan. Is it the best song written or the best record? That's why at the Grammy Awards you have best song and best record divided into 2 categories. Because a record is how they produce the song to make a great record. For instance, one of my choices, which I will throw in but I didn't pull out here, is Bob Dylan. Once upon a time, dressed so fine, through the bumblebee dime in your dime, didn't you? You know, That's one of the great records ever made. The song, well, you don't hear other people covering and making as good. Now, Paul McCartney wrote Yesterday, you know, not one of my favorite Beatles songs, but covered by any millions of people. Probably one of the most covered Beatles songs ever. I like the song. I love the recording. Not one of my favorites, but great song if you just take it out of context of the Beatles or Frank Sinatra or any of the thousands of people and millions of people that covered that song. But I'm going to still stick with two Beatles songs that are both great songs and great records, but two songs by the Beatles, by Lennon and McCartney. One's more of a John song. One's actually a John and Paul, one more of a John song, even though they put both their names on it. But we can work it out. Life is very short and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friends. Try to see it my way. Also on this record was a single backed of Day Tripper and We Can Work It Out. Great song put on this record. Love that song. I think it's one of the best songs ever written and one of the best song records ever recorded. And the other one, which ended up on Let It Be in a number of versions, there's various versions of the Beatles doing it, is Across the Universe, written by John Lennon. George Martin, the producer, said that's his favorite lyric ever. When he answered that to that interviewer, I forgot who the interviewer was, the interviewer was surprised. He thought he would say, you know, one of the famous Beatles songs, and George Martin mentioned Across the Universe. Best lyric John Lennon ever wrote. Words are flowing out like endless pain into a paper cup. They slither widely as they make their way across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy, la 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 la. I forgot the rest of it right now, but across the universe, Jai Guru Deva Om. Nothing's going to change our world. Great song. There's like 4 or 5 different versions of it, if I recall. Different mixes, different recordings. The one with the birds, the one with the background vocals, like little vocals. But that's my favorite thing there. So those are the best song ever written. 2 with the Dylan one thrown in, number 3. How do you keep track of my collection? I just yell out, "Hey, record collection, are you home now? Don't stay out too late." That's how I keep track of my collection. Although my friend, I was going to say the equalizer, although my friend is the archivist, Amanda, is helping me start to get into Discogs. We got all the jazz, we got 10 Beatle records, we got some box sets and things, and new releases, but I don't know if I'm going to ever get in everything into Discogs. I just know what I have here. So I just say, "Are you home now, record collection?" That's how I keep track of my collection. Number 4, the one record you never sell. Well, I'm going to go back, and there's 2. I'll go back to this. Now, this is not the same one. This is the one that I found after, but my girlfriend Judy, August 23rd, 1973, my 19th birthday, my girlfriend, my first love that I mentioned in the 1970 thing, in 1973, she found this for me. She found me my first Butcher cover record, and she wrote on the back, "Happy birthday, Norman. I give you this album with much joy and happiness on your 19th birthday. Enjoy the original album cover and most enjoy the music inside. I had a far out time finding it for you, really. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be, love, Judy." That's kind of personal, but it has been like, 47 years since I got this album almost. And she wrote, "This is your 500th album." So she knew. But I was gobsmacked, as the people in England, London, UK say, when she found this for me, because I had never owned this record until 1973. But she wrote on it. So she wrote on the fucking record of the rarest record, but I could never give this away. Even though I don't see Judy anymore and we're not in love, and she was my first love, this was a beautiful record. So I want to say thank you, Judy, wherever you are right now. Norman loves you still. And then the other one, this. Those of you who are new to my channel, search back. I did one of my group. My group which was called the Silencers. Yeah, before there was a band in the 80s, I believe, called the Silencers. We were first. We got that name from the Matt Helm, Dean Martin movie called The Silencers, and we were 12 years old, and the father of one of my band members was a lawyer, or as you would say in the South, a liar, liar. There's no name. There's a way you guys say it in the South. I cannot say that. We say lawyer. I'm going to do a 10-minute video trying to say lawyer. Anyway, he got us to record at Commercial Recording Studios, Natoma Street, in a South of Market area on a second floor walk-up of a grungy little recording studio. I think the guy owed my friend's daddy some money, so we got to record 2 songs. We were 12 years old in 1966 and recorded this. They made 5 acetate copies of this record, and Blast Off. Now, there's an earlier video way back. You go looking for it, you can see me playing this and talking about this whole story, so I won't talk about it too much. But one of the members, there was Kirk Dove, who I never see anymore. He kind of disappeared, or he went into something else. Danny Walker and Larry Weinberg, that were my friends for life. And unfortunately, they both passed on. So I'm the only remaining member of this band, well, aside from Kirk, but he didn't stick with music or anything. But we were the Silencers. So it was Blast Off and I Don't Care. And I talk about this and I play I Don't Care, but I don't know where the other two, I suppose Larry's widow has his copy and Danny's copy. I have no idea, but this may be the only copy in existence that Danny Walker wrote the A-side, and the B-side was through my friend Danny Walker, myself, Norman Maslov, and my friend Thomas Lee Quackenbush. 1966. I would never part with this. I could never part with this. It means so much to me, and there's nothing else like it. I'm gonna cry. I think what the people in the New York say, the Jewish people, I'm verklempt. Okay, favorite music record related documentary. I got 3 here. Actually, I'm just gonna do 2, because they're really just 2 that I think are fantastic. Someone else showed the Beatles anthology. I think Vinyl Richie showed it on one of his videos, maybe a different video. He showed it on a 20 by 20, 20 by 20. I think Vinyl Richie has now filmed 17 different versions of the vinyl tag 2020. But this is amazing. The Beatles anthology from 1995 on the DVD. I actually have a Laserdisc version of this and a VHS version of this. So every format, you know, maybe when they do a Blu-ray and upgrade the audio, I'll get that too. But amazing 10-hour documentary of and by the Beatles. And then, of course, D.A. Pennybacker, great documentary filmmaker. Bob Dylan's Don't Look Back. This is the 65 Deluxe Tour Edition. A friggin' amazing video. Don't Look Back. Love this. A perfect video. I'm sticking with it. Hold me down and ask me, and I'm sticking with those 2. This beer sure tastes good. Okay. Favorite record you received as a gift? I'm going with Yesterday and Today. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Judy. Favorite record given to me as a gift on my 19th birthday, 1973, in San Francisco, California, USA. The Butcher cover. What's your listening ritual? Well, I listen to car, but in terms of my records, and I listen in my office to CDs and digital files, but CDs downstairs. My office is right on the other side of this wall. But I have like a little kumbaya organic, I should say. Sorry about that. I'm not orgasmicing while I'm listening to music. Not very often, at least. But I'm sitting in my listening spot, my sweet spot, that chair, and I'm listening to records, maybe on an average, when I'm home alone, 2 to 3 hours every weeknight and many more on the weekends. I have new releases and ongoing in rotation, heavy rotation spins upstairs, and I'm listening to that music all the time, and I love it. But then I come here, and when I do those whack-a-moles, 4 out of 5 times I take those whack-a-mole records and I play them. Now, when I have guests like the Archivist and Coffee Dave and Mazzy Jr. and all the, my friend from the cafe, Real Fine, Julie and her niece, and when I have Brother Alan over here or anyone else who wants to be a guest in Whack-A-Mole, we usually don't always play those. We don't have the time. We're on to other things, to other discussions and stuff. But when I'm whacking a mole, I'd like to play those things. It gives me a way to get into my collection again. So I listen to the music. I don't file anything away until I feel I know it. I get in moods like the Sunday morning jazz mood or a Saturday afternoon jazz mood. If it's rainy, on those rainy, cold winter days, maybe dark days, I'm playing music all afternoon, even while I'm cleaning house and doing chores. So, I'm not necessarily a critical listener of records. I hate that idea of listening for little fucking things in records that are aberrations. I like to put it on and enjoy the music. Sometime I'm in the moment, I'm having a cocktail or a coffee, and I really zone in on the record, and sometimes it's just playing and I'm roaming the house and doing things. It changes. But I've been doing that since 1964, when the Beatles first came to America and invaded us and shut down all that surf music and Pat Boone crooner crap. So anyway, that's it. That's my 7,000 Mr. Dillon. Remember Gunsmoke? Congratulations to you. I love that you found your record store perfect location. It looks beautiful. And I want to sit there with a brew if I'm allowed to drink in a record store. I don't know what the alcoholic rules are down in North Carolina, but I'd like to sit in that little kind of mid-century modern carpeted area with the stereo next to it and just kind of hang out and maybe during hours or after hours do a whack-a-mole in your store someday. Congratulations, Dylan. I love you boys down there, all of you. I hope you take this with the love in my heart that it's meant to be and, not for the inner cracker in me. I love you. Mazzy loves you. Congrats, Mr. Dillon. See you next time.